the reality. I call myself Kj-52 because I read in John 6:9 that Jesus took 5 loaves and 2 fish and he multiplied it. And I said, Lord, I don't got a lot to offer. I'm just some goofy white dude from Florida who does Christian hip hop. But the reality is, I said, you can take the most insignificant person and take what he has and multiply it. And I said, Lord, let me never forget that. So I always call myself Kj-52, so I'll never forget that God is in the business of doing some amazing things with some unamazing people. Now you may say, well, what happened from there, KJ? Well, the reality is about 4 years later after that, VH1 runs a show called The 40 Worst Moments in Hip Hop. They said, because I wrote a song praying for another rapper, I was one of the worst moments ever in the history of hip hop. If that makes me not hip hop, then I'll tell you what, here right now, I don't want to be hip hop. I can't help but talk about what God has done in my life, simple as that. So the final reality is this. They say, well, has he ever said anything? Has he ever responded? A couple years ago, Eminem put out a song called Be Careful What You Wish For. And in the last verse, he says, I got a letter from a fan who said he'd been praying for me. And he goes on to talk about in that verse, in that song, he says how the prayers of this song that I wrote to him, how that had been weighing on his mind heavy. You may have somebody in your life that you think you just can't reach. Let me tell you something, start praying for them, start being the light. You never know what God is doing in that person's life. Just be faithful, simple as that. And he ended his verse, he said, I appreciate the prayers. He says, but I already got God on my side. So whatever that stands, whatever that means, even if that's not about me, I don't really care. The reality is who God is in my life and who Jesus is in my life. I can't help but talk about it. And so that's this song today. That's what this song is about. It's called Dear Slim Part 2. This is my last thing. I'm going to rock with you guys. You guys have been a great crowd so far. If you know about that incredible love letter named Jesus, just you can put a right hand up in the air right